Have you ever heard a story that completely changes how you see the world? Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful Buddhist tales ever told. The Suvannakakkaṭa Jātaka, or as many know it, the story of the Golden Goose. This isn't just a fairy tale. It's a profound lesson about generosity, gratitude, and a dangerous trap we all face: greed. The story asks a simple yet challenging question. If you were given a magical gift, would you cherish it or let greed destroy it? This ancient tale transports us back in time to a world where kindness could lead to miracles. At its heart is a man who lived a life of such integrity and goodness that after he passed away, his virtuous deeds led to an extraordinary rebirth. He was reborn as a magnificent goose, with feathers that shimmered like pure, polished gold. But this was no ordinary animal. He retained the memories of his past life, including the deep love he held for his family, his wife, and daughters. Looking down from the heavens, he saw that his family, now without him, had fallen into poverty. Their clothes were tattered, their meals were meager, and their days were filled with struggle. His heart ached with compassion. He couldn't bear to see them suffer. He knew he possessed a gift that could change their lives, and he resolved to help them, driven by the same love he felt when he was their husband and father. This golden goose was about to embark on a journey back to the world he had left behind, not just as a magical creature, but as a guardian angel in disguise. With a determined heart, the golden goose soared through the sky, his brilliant feathers catching the sunlight like 1,000 tiny suns. He flew directly to the humble cottage where his former family lived. Imagine their astonishment when this majestic, golden bird landed gently before them. At first, they were likely frightened, but the goose spoke to them with a familiar, gentle tone, revealing his identity and the reason for his return. To ease their struggles, he did something incredible. He plucked a single, shimmering feather from his wing and offered it to them. It was a gift of pure gold, more than enough to sell for food, new clothes, and to repair their home. The family was overcome with joy and disbelief. Tears of gratitude streamed down their faces as they accepted the precious feather. Their lives were transformed overnight. Hunger and hardship were replaced with comfort and security, all thanks to the miraculous kindness of the golden goose. He promised to return whenever they needed more, and they, in turn, promised to be patient and grateful. For a while, it seemed like a perfect arrangement, a beautiful testament to love transcending even life and death. Initially, the family's hearts were filled with pure gratitude. Each time the golden goose visited, he would leave another golden feather, and their lives steadily improved. They no longer worried about their next meal or the cold of winter. They were comfortable, safe, and happy. The goose's visits were a source of joy, a reminder of the love that still connected them. But slowly, like a creeping vine, a dark thought began to take root in their minds. Planted by the mother, she started to think, one feather at a time is good, but it's slow. We're comfortable, but we're not truly rich. What if the goose stops coming? What if something happens to him? Our good fortune could vanish in an instant. This seed of worry soon sprouted into full-blown greed. The mother gathered her daughters and shared her anxious thoughts. Why wait for him to give us one feather at a time? She schemed. He is covered in them. If we take all his feathers at once, we can become wealthy beyond our wildest dreams. Immediately, we'll never have to worry again. The allure of instant riches was powerful, and it began to cloud their judgment, making them forget the very source of their blessings. The promise of gratitude they had made started to feel like a distant memory, overshadowed by the burning desire for more. Their contentment was eroding, replaced by an insatiable hunger for wealth. They were no longer thinking about the goose's kindness, only about the gold on his wings. The day came for the golden goose's next visit. He arrived, as always, with a heart full of love and a readiness to give. But this time, the welcome was different. Instead of grateful smiles, he was met with determined faces and a hidden agenda. As he settled in, the family sprang their trap. They seized him, holding him down despite his confused and frightened struggles. Ignoring his cries, the mother and her daughters began to pluck every single one of his beautiful golden feathers. They worked quickly, driven by their feverish dream of instant wealth. But as the last feather was pulled from his trembling body, a terrible, unforeseen magic took place. The pile of shimmering gold they had amassed instantly transformed. The brilliant, sun-like glow vanished, and the feathers turned into a heap of plain, ordinary, white goose feathers completely worthless. They stared in shock and horror at the useless pile. In their greedy haste, they had destroyed the very magic that had given the feathers their value. The goose, now bare, bleeding, and heartbroken, looked at them with eyes full of sorrow and betrayal. The pain of their actions was far worse than the physical pain of losing his feathers. With a final, sorrowful cry, he summoned his remaining strength, spread his raw wings, and flew away, leaving his once beloved family forever. The family was left with nothing. The pile of ordinary feathers was a bitter reminder of their foolishness. They had lost not only their source of wealth, but also the love and connection to the one being who had cared for them so deeply. They had traded lasting contentment for a fleeting fantasy of riches, and in the end, they had nothing but regret. The silence in their small cottage was heavier than any poverty they had ever known. They were once again poor, but this time their poverty was deeper. It was a poverty of spirit, a hollowness left by their own greed and The story serves as a powerful illustration of a timeless truth. When we become consumed by wanting more, we often lose the very things that brought us happiness in the first place. Their greed didn't just cost them gold. It cost them love, trust, and a magical bond that could never be replaced. They were left to live with the harsh consequence of their choices, a lesson learned far too late. So, what does this ancient story of the Golden Goose teach us today? It's a timeless reminder that true wealth isn't found in accumulating possessions, but in appreciating what we already have. Gratitude and patience are the keys to lasting happiness and steady blessings. Greed, on the other hand, is a destructive force. It creates a hunger that can never be satisfied and often leads us to destroy the very sources of our joy. The tale teaches moral discipline, encouraging us to look at our own lives and recognize the golden feathers we might be taking for granted, whether it's our health, our relationships, or the simple comforts of daily life. It urges us to cherish these gifts rather than constantly seeking more, because contentment is a treasure that greed can never buy. In the end, the moral of the Suvannakakkaṭa Jātaka is crystal clear. Greed can destroy even the greatest blessings, but gratitude ensures lasting happiness. It's a story that has been shared for centuries, beloved by both children and adults, because its message resonates deeply within the human heart. It reminds us to be patient, to be thankful, and to protect the magic in our lives by not letting greed clip its wings. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of the most beautiful moral tales ever told. I hope it gave you something to reflect on. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more wisdom from around the world, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything. Until next time, stay curious and be well.